Hey guys, first fan of the night. I was waiting on Rick to...
First fan of the night.
Thank you. K63, Casablanca, Four Seasons. Those of you who know me know this is a huge childhood fan of mine. I've yet to find the exact version from my childhood. And nor have I found the versions that I really, really want. The closest I've come is the one that's now in the museum stairwell, which is a 38-inch antique brass and stencil with a K4 light kit. That's one of the versions I wanted badly. The one from my childhood was antique white, no light, this canopy. Would love to find the earliest version with the different blade arms. Would love to find a brown one.
Brown.
Yes. Anything else to say about it before we start the video?
So actually, I just thought of this. So I do you know what years these things were made? I mean, they had to be into the late 80s at least, right?
No, they were introduced. Well, I guess it was late 80s because
So I guess my question, they did make a 3-speed version, right? Because the reason I ask is because the very first McDonald's that I can remember, which was the one on, was it Napier Boulevard and 75th Street in Naperville, Illinois. That they tore it down in 2005 or 6, I think. But before they tore the old building down, it was a time capsule McDonald's straight out of the mid 80s, and they had 3 Four Seasons. I think they were the 42-inch ones. One always ran on slow reverse, and then the other one was on periodically. The middle one I never saw work, but they had 3 of them, and they were, I'm trying to think.
You mean the 48-inch ones, right?
Yeah, 48. That's one. This is the middle. It wasn't 52. It was a little smaller, but they were. I can't remember if they were polished brass.
Most McDonald's had polished brass.
I think they were polished brass with a little bit lighter colored blades, but I definitely remember those. And when keep in mind, I was pretty little then. I remember one time we asked the employees if they could turn them on, and they tried, and only the one in the corner came on, which was the one that ran occasionally, but we couldn't figure out what was with the middle one.
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that these were not 3-speed, that they were the 5-blade NASA when they became 3-speed.
Oh, okay.
So
it could have just been. Well, I know it had the newer Casablanca pull chain, which is what always confused me.
Oh no, that could still be slumber quiet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The newer Casablanca pull chain was introduced shortly after the Hang True and
they were I know they were Hang True, the older.
They just weren't K63.
Okay, yeah. So they were but anyway, but that was a little bit.
So the variable speed control in this one it got damaged in shipping. So we'll use the one in the test rig, and we'll start with 0 to high. Do you think it's gonna have an inrush, Rick?
K63, I'll say big inrush.
Here, why don't you show the light kit on all the full range on the light kit, and then turn it.
So we got it on the dimmer here. Yeah. There's what it looks like with full. So it's we'll see what the wattage is. 6.2 watts. So they're like,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Turn it to cap and all solid state and all that. And yeah,
it's a fan light combined.
So do we think it's gonna have inrush?
I think big inrush.
Okay, I'll go with moderate.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a fair test because I had to turn the light off.
It is, because it went up to 1.31. I know it's going to drop for sure.
Whoa.
Rick got that right. Yeah, because it's the same motor for a big one and a small one. And with big blades, it draws around an amp and a quarter. So smaller blades, it draws a little bit less load on it.
This changer would say it hauls ass.
It does.
It most definitely.
That's one area where I will agree with
changer. Yeah, that is fast.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see what it's doing. So 1.11 amps. 88 watts and about 2/3 the power factor. So then spin down would be next. However, the bearings seem okay on this. Or did you treat them already?
So when I took it apart, I had to take this apart. The whole switch housing got foobarred in shipping. I had to JB weld it. That's why it's a little bent now. I'll be able to bend it back after the JB weld is done curing. And when I took it apart, I spun it by hand, and they were not noisy, but they seemed a little stiff. So since I had it apart anyways, and since I was already using WD-40 to get the mangled switch housing off without stripping it, I just shot a little bit in the bearings, and the stiffness went away. So I think it would have been fine to test. If I didn't already have it apart, I probably would have tested it without doing anything to the bearings. But it certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, spin down's good.
It's funny, when I first... Sometimes you can make bearings worse by adding oil, but and they're still a little stiff. The stop was a little abrupt there. But not bad at all. Where do we think it's going to start on yield test rig?
On yield test rig, I'm going to say it's going to start on 4.
I'll go with 3. I think 2 is a possibility, but if the bearings are stiff, then it's not going to be 2. So that'll be our clue as to how stiff the bearings still are.
All right. 1, 2.
So they're still stiff for sure.
3.
Dan lost.
4.
And Rick lost.
5. Yeah, 5 it is.
Wasn't expecting that.
Might be a little stiff. I mean, let's
try it again.
Okay. So let it go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, they're still for real stiff.
5.
Interesting, because it's spun so nicely by hand, but you can't always tell by hand. That's why we use the test rig. And I guess if we'd never tested a K63 of this type before, we wouldn't have a clue. We'd think this is where it starts. But I know some of them will start as low as 2.
Well, that, and look, it's already gone pretty fast for the first start. I mean,
we could see it struggling. So.
All right, well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to do anything else to it now, even though I'm tempted.
Control the urge. 6.
Dang, this is, you know what? Four Seasons going slow with like a light kit like this is a really cool look.
It's definitively 80s. Like I mean, again, I don't remember a whole lot of installs, but I definitely remember the McDonald's. That's actually going pretty good already.
Yeah, I would have done one lower than this.
I think 5, which would, 5 would probably be ideal. But the ones that McDonald's always ran pretty slow too. All right, here's 7. That's a functional low. I mean, that's actually moves some air. There's 8. A little wobble, but terrible. There's 9. I always thought it was interesting how the vents are like loosely GE vents.
Yeah, they just took GE vents and made them smaller.
Well, they're very round though too. I mean, usually they're a little more oblong.
Yeah.
And that was 10. Already pretty much a medium.
Oh, you just made me think of something. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
It's
not for all audience.
Well, I don't like to the same reason if I get hired for a tour, I don't usually tell the public until because if something happens and now you look like a liar, but stuff just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You made me think of a fan that I might have a chance to buy, and I just forgot about it until I want to get your opinion before I pull the trigger.
We're at 11, 12. It's already really flying, all right.
Yeah.
And it's a powerhouse too. I already feel it.
Oh yeah, these move the same amount of air as the full size version.
Oh, yeah. There's 14, 15.
Yeah, there's definitely a world in which a Four Seasons of this size goes in my kitchen.
Yeah, I could see that.
I was really looking for a brown one for that purpose. Now that I have some other fans that are brass, I don't know. Somebody wanted me to do the copper one.
I just remembered. Idea for your living room.
Okay.
Brown and brass. I don't know if you have one. Brown and brass Terra.
I do have one. It was.
How do you not? That's that was your equivalent of like a Rick blender. How do you not have one in your house?
Because it was in the living room of my condo for years.
So you just kind of got bored with them.
Not so much bored, but I wanted to try other things.
That's fair.
It was in the living room of my condo for years. It was in the living room of my bedroom, or not my bedroom, my living room of my first apartment for years.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
And there's a antique brass one in my parents' dining room.
Your mom's.
Yeah. I mean, I had one in the bedroom for a while here. I mean, I've just...
If you wanted to get really crazy, what about that green and brass thing?
If I had the right blades for it, I was actually considering that, but I don't want to have a...
I didn't know you bought that from Chandler, actually, because I had watched Chandler's video of it originally, and then I saw you guys tested it, too.
Yeah. Chandler gave me... I traded him a bunch of antiques and some cash for that and one other, valuable fan that I wanted. It ended up being a really good deal for both of us, I think.
Nice. All right, 16...
I wanted to get rid of some antiques. He needed some cash. I wanted both of those fans.
Worked out.
Chandler has a lot of stuff that I want, though, and he knows that. And, he knows that if he ever needs cash or antiques or something else that I'll part with, Yeah, I joke a lot about Chandler, but I actually do like him.
Yeah, I like I
He's
said,
just
I
a
enjoy.
character like most fan people. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I find his videos really funny. All right, so we're at 16, 17. We gotta be getting close here.
I think we're over.
Oh yeah, we are over. So
Yeah,
17
I wasn't
goes,
looking, I'm
17,
sorry.
No, well, I'm glad I checked. 17 goes over. So solid state.
It's got to be pretty damn quiet because it would have had a solid state in originally.
Yeah, that's kind of the OEM way of controlling the speeds.
So we can still, we can still wager.
I'm gonna say bedroom quiet.
Okay, I'm gonna cross my fingers on silent then. So some of them are living room for sure. It's not always bedroom or silent, but I'm gonna cross my fingers.
How about that for a nice aesthetic?
Yeah, bearings freed up a little bit.
I mean, that sounds silent to me.
Yeah, I think I'm going with silent.
I mean, there's very, very little tiny like hum kind of buzz, but that's probably one of the quietest solid state fans I've seen on here.
Yeah.
So. Okay, and then we already did 0 to high.
We already did 0 to high, so we're ready for the next fan of the night. So
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.